3, 2. Welcome LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, as you join our on the phone lines. And I see Leslie Flowers. I'm going to bring your comment up immediately that you are both on LinkedIn and on the phone line today. So we appreciate you. Olu, thank you for joining us as well. So we appreciate you, as well as our folks who are on the phone lines. Carla Hill was number one, followed closely by Leslie Flowers, and we have joining us and Mary Bell and George Clark, Marie Turner, and Layla Llewellyn out in California. Bill Peterson, who called me and jumped into the phone lines. Bill, we usually see you in the evening. Glad you joined us. Laura Fitz, great to see you as well. Lillian Ford, welcome. Good morning to you and others. We're going to be moving into our session in another couple of minutes, but thank you all for jumping in early. Really appreciate every one of you on this beautiful Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, and for our 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time edition. Really excited about the opportunity that we'll have this morning. We shared a video with you from the History Channel. It was just a minute, about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Just a reminder of the power of 250,000 people coming together and in front of the Lincoln Memorial to hear regarding, how things should be different, and how people can make that difference. And in fact, they did. So we'll be hopefully hearing from Gail Berger. I'm going to check our audience and make sure I didn't miss Gail. But we wanted to get that firsthand perspective from Gail. So, if something happens, and Claudia Nesmith, good to see you. If something happens and he, somehow can't get Gail, then I'd love to get your perspectives, and I can share mine. But not only what happened tomorrow will be 62 years ago, and then we're talking about a major event that happened 98 years before that. So 62 years, 98 years, not too much of a difference, but that was the end of this horrible institution called slavery, but also what happened after that, and that still affects people today. I'd love to get perspectives on what you see today, and how our power thinking, resilience, inner strengths, and skills are absolutely necessary, not only then, today as well. So as you're joining in on LinkedIn, if you're joining in on LinkedIn, and I see with us on LinkedIn as well as the phone line, feel free to mention your comment, mention where you're joining us. So we'll bring those comments up on the screen so that folks will see them who are watching us on YouTube, who are watching on Facebook, and of course on LinkedIn. So we see, yep, here's Carla. Glad to be here. Good to see you there, Carla. Let us now move in to our session. First, let me search for Gail. I don't see Gail yet. So let's try this. I'm going to look here, and we'll get, please join on phone. Great. We are juggling these technologies, our phone platform, which was the standard for so many years, and we're connected to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. this evening. We should talk and Instagram and LinkedIn. Let's get started, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Power Thinking, Rejuvenating Your Amazing Mind Tuesday. This is August 27th, our last Wednesday, and we're excited that you are with us. This is our 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time edition, and I'm your moderator, Stanley Green. Always a pleasure to be with you as we help you build these incredible, essential skills of resilience so that when tough times hit, we are absolutely ready. So it's not a question of if, it is a question of when, and it seems like almost daily things are happening. As I kind of search here, I see other folks, Ed Samuel, who's joined us, and I haven't mentioned Ed, Daniel Spencer, great to see you. I'm going to move now into, and Janice, good to see you as well. Greg Jones, I'm going to move into our Q&A so that folks can, and if Gail Berger's out there, Gail, if you can hit that *6, and then we will bring you up. And if something happened and Gail can't be with us, then we certainly will have you. And feel free, anyone at any time, to hit the *6. Love to hear your thoughts about our focus for today as we help you retrain your brain so that you can be absolutely resilient, but not only in the areas that we have focused on for the past almost 7 years, but I really want to make sure that we understand as well. There are things are happening rapidly. Take tariffs, for example, but we have to recognize that the billions that they're saying are coming from other countries ultimately will be paid by people who consume. And this gets to what we talk about with our training, because one of the strengths of resilience, being able to bounce back from adversity, whether it's emotional or financial, is emotion regulation, the ability to stay calm. This is true throughout the generations. Whatever we're faced with, we must be resilient from whatever adversity we are facing, and we must be able to do it as close to real time as possible. So, love to get your thoughts as we focus today, as we are to August 28th, which is the 62nd anniversary, 62 years ago, that there was this incredible, iconic, groundbreaking March on Washington in Washington, D.C. And while there were a number of speakers, the most memorable was the leader of the civil rights movement, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that what people hold on to is his speech, which was kind of a mean speech, but it was actually the last part of his speech where it was pretty much, he came up with it at the last minute. It was something that he added on, but it was something that everyone held on to. I did a poll on LinkedIn where I asked, what was the most memorable element of or quote from that March on Washington in 1963. And I had three choices. One was I Have a Dream. Another was content of the character. And then the third was Coming to Get Our Check. The 23 people that have voted so far, and feel free to go on the LinkedIn, go to my post, you'll see the poll. There was only one to get our check. And so most people have no idea what that refers to, because that's not what's talked about. But the reality is that there were, leading up to that, what caused this? I mean, what was the root cause? It was not only the fact that slavery was less than 100 years prior in freeing of the slaves, but there were Jim Crow laws, segregation, there was hate and lynchings, where people decided they were going to, as we talk about in resilience, reach out, have the strength of, which is connecting with other people and taking action when faced with setbacks and challenge. That's what happened. And in a previous speech prior to the march, Dr. talked about the discrimination, talked about the which enabled people land and of land, but not the former. And he said, when we come to Washington, we're coming to get. So it's interesting that the three choices, I have a dream, content of the character, only commented or selected, coming to get our check because of this. It was equality. It was, hey, you can't treat us, continue to treat us this way. We're not going to stand for it. And it became the impetus for the civil rights laws, and also housing, voting act, just amazing stuff. So let's hear from you. Let's go first to Carla Hill, and anyone else. Hit that *6. We have Carla Hill, we have Leslie Flowers on the line, and we'd love to hear from you as well. Gail, if you're out there, and something may have happened, and perhaps we'll have Gail this evening. So, Carla, thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from. You're both on our phone lines and on LinkedIn. And your thoughts about the 1963 March on Washington. Welcome. Carla, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Disengaged.
No problem.
And I'm getting feedback from both.
Yeah, I know. We're managing these technologies. I tell you, it's a lot to manage. So go right ahead.
Yes. So thank you, Stanley, for keeping this top of mind. It's really important. I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and just seeing the video, what comes to mind is the importance of reaching out. Oh, being a Black woman, it wasn't just Black people in that video. All right. I just saw and to your poll question, I didn't answer the poll question. And that's what I remember with history. I have and now we live in such divisive times in terms of groups and politically, racially, but that's really what came to mind as I saw and listened to the video, and the importance of reaching out to people that may not, but have the same vision and the same dream and the power of that. So again, thank you for to just isolate and stick with people you think. But one of the things that I agree with you, but in terms of what I've learned from being an HR is behaviors. I think it probably was very hot in DC on August 28th, 1963. So people are marching. I'm like, they don't have to be there. You know what I mean? So again, thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate all you do, and you'll be coming up on about 7 years now with Power Thinking. And let's go next to and both Carla and Leslie are not only on the phone lines, but they're on LinkedIn as well. Leslie Flowers, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from about the March on Washington.
Good morning, Stanley.
Good morning.
And our corporation community. It's a little weird doing something. You sitting in that seat trying to manage everything, right?
Yeah.
So, really glad you brought this up because I want to give you a short timeline about this. Now, I graduated high school in 1964. In 93 was
Wow.
this freedom. I graduated in 1964.
Mm.
In 1985 was the Selma March, and I was going to San Francisco State. And in 1967, I became troops into and out of Vietnam,
Wow.
taking up troops. Okay, so
Wow.
now I remember our rabbi went to the Selma marches in 1965
Mm.
and came back in this extraordinary experience. And in terms of the Freedom March, I'm so grateful. I was on the West Coast at that time, and I don't like crowds. But I was on the campus of San Francisco State when the National Guard came in because of the protests about Vietnam.
Mm.
So all I can say is here is what's occurring now. The people in their heart will ultimately rise above. We don't know exactly how the universe has always worked out of this that African Americans have gone through ever since they landed on this shore. Absolutely, just bantered around. I remember, oh God, what was it? The Debaki case in California, and it had to do with a guy who was put ahead of an African American candidate who was, and I can't remember what that movement was, but it had to do with, being fair. And so it seems like it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, back and forth, back and forth. So we can learn from the stand that was taken in by watching those leaders, by doing something we don't see a lot of today, living with virtues, values, and standards.
Mm.
Those leaders lived according, they walked the walk. They were not perfect. And that's one of the things that bothers me, because you can have people that are actually doing things that I consider not moral. And the distinction between the collective standing for everybody. So I have a hard time with that, Stanley,
Mhm.
because there's this hypocrisy. But that being said, we have the best leaders. These are people that would go to their death, not unlike when the Constitution began. There were those that risked their life, knowing they could all be hung. Right, when the Declaration of Independence was written,
Mhm.
and agreed, all of those men knew that there were 2 choices: to live and be free, or to die trying to do that. And they risked it. That's what happened in 1965, and it's what's happening now. Thank you for the few minutes here, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leslie. And it's powerful. Leslie was in high school then, about the 60s. Just a tremendous day. Have Timothy Butts coming up next. Anyone else, hit that *6. Love to hear where you were at that time, if you were living. Some of you weren't born yet. Um, uh, and what were you thinking? And if you weren't born then, what were your takeaways from what you heard about it and what you watched in videos and specials? Um, and what do you see today? Are we moving forward and realizing that dream? So Leslie, civil rights movement, March on Washington, Civil Rights Act, Voting Act, uh, Vietnam, and thank you for your service during a tumultuous time. And you're very calm and collected, but I can imagine, only imagine. I mean, you're going into to save people and save their lives, and of course, what you do today, we certainly appreciate it. 10 a.m. on Monday on LinkedIn, 10 a.m. on Friday Eastern Time on LinkedIn. But just a tremendous life of helping people, and we appreciate you. So I just thought I'd get that in. We go next to Timothy Butts, and we're going to go to Janice. Timothy Butts, thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about the March on Washington. Welcome.
Absolutely. Hey, good morning, and thanks for the opportunity. Good morning, family. So I love the way you're capturing the perspectives. I love Leslie's age that she was in and the service that she was providing. From my perspective, I was approaching 1 year old, but the 6. So later, and throughout the 60s, I was able to hear my eldest brother feedback on the activities at the time. Things are ingrained in my memory. Of accuracy, I continue to watch how history, and hear me out, I would continue to watch how, and I would encourage, as a person who's a leader in technology, I encourage each of you, make sure that the technology that you are reviewing is accurate. There's a ton of people whitewashing out. So make sure that you're looking at viable sources, but in terms of your life activities with others that were in that space, and make sure that you're, because as I recall, and walking and talking with my brothers and my sisters and my parents, my dad had been in Korea and in World War II. My mom worked for the VA hospital, and they both wound up having over 40 years career with the VA. So they were engaging all of us to work with them as often as possible just to get exposed to veterans. Very purposefully, they wanted us to see people who were injured, hear their perspectives. My dad was an occupational therapist. So he would have us sit in the clinic, and as guys are coming in who now have one arm and not two, I'm sitting there as a youngster talking with those guys, kids who are now being counseled back from the war. He doesn't act the same. And I'm sitting there talking to their kid, and that perspective is all my life. And that is, as tragedies and things happen, as life happens, as different events happen, be aware of what you're giving to the situation, what you're seeing in the situation, how you're living through the situation. And me interacting with some of those kids back then who I've run into in my adulthood, it's amazing how we all remember our memories. So let me jump back now. The March on Washington, I love what Carla said. It must have been really hot that day because you're out there on concrete to look at what the weather report was. Now, when I'm looking at and the purposeful speech, I used the opportunity that you had out on LinkedIn. And after looking at everything, only one of those choices was driven towards action. The other two were driven towards ice, but one was driven at action. And that's the one that, in my perspective now, would feel as most important. And moving on in life, that's in terms of what to take away from. As a community leader, hey, I ran for Congress. So I like to make sure I'm very purposeful. I am one of those guys who will go to a mountaintop and say, this take me out, but I'm dying for purpose. So I'm just one of those crazy people who do that kind of thing. But I also on this phone sharing important topics. History is so important to make sure we know it clearly, but also purposefully. So many similarities to the idea of the chaos from then, But now we have technology affecting our perspective. So those of us who understand the branding and the speed of technology and how that impacts our perception, be aware of how that also impacts to be purposeful in how you react, but also how you're proactive in the midst of creating a future for our the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and both your mom and your dad for their service and what they've done for you and your siblings and the grands who are doing great things. Your mother's now. I'm going to unmute your sec. She is 101, Timothy.
102.
102. Oh my gosh, she's. Oh, and again, talk about it. Is she still walking a mile a day?
Still walking a mile, and gets over to the gym and lifts weights as well.
Okay, inspiration, everyone. Timothy, thank you very much. We're going to keep moving because we have Janice, and then we have Lillian. We have comments on LinkedIn. Leslie saying thanks, Timothy, and then we must not forget what our parents and grandparents did to stand for our freedom right now. What for our children, our grands, and our great grands. Olu from Nigeria. This comment is coming across the screen on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. LOL, I wasn't yet born. I wasn't born yet then. Still, I am an avid student of history, and so have a variety of topics in history, the civil rights. I try as much as I can to speak out or to seek out and reference various. So thank you for that, Olu. And we're going to go next. Hit that star 6, folks. We have a few minutes left. Love to get your perspective. So as I switch from the video platforms to our phone platform, we're going to go next to Janice. And I hope I have the right name here. That's what comes up on the screen. Thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and the March on Washington in 1963. Welcome. So with the last 4 digits, 2282. Look at your phone, area code 718. So it may be a different name, but that's the name that comes up on the screen for me. Berger, go right ahead. Is it Janice? Okay, we'll give you one more try. And then you can try again. We're going to go next to, and I thank you for calling this. Please don't look forward. Lillian, thank you for joining us. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about the March on Washington or what's happening today and what we do with resilience. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm calling from Philadelphia.
Great.
And I was thinking about the word propaganda. And looking back, I was thinking everything they must have went through and fought through to gather the strength to have the march. And I'm thinking about today, the level of propaganda that's being taught, the lies and the rewriting, as the young man said. And to just piggyback on what he said, just be encouraged to know that the truth is out there, but they are rewriting, I wanted to say, but it's so important to talk to our children. I wasn't born at that time, but I'm grateful those in my eyes that shared what it felt like to live through that period. And so I only share with my children and my grandchildren now to read everything you hear, everything you read, but to go and research to find out the truth. So the word propaganda keeps coming up in my mind. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lillian. Really appreciate you being with ears and for stepping up and sharing your thoughts. Really appreciate it. And we have Leslie Flowers who commented here on LinkedIn. We just brought it up. I was in the 11th grade German class when the speaker I'm sorry. I think he was saying speaker. Yeah. So speaker high on the classroom wall crackled. Okay, so there was a speaker high on the classroom wall. It cracked with the news of the shooting of John F. Kennedy. My world stopped, and we spent days glued to our one TV doing the news, the funeral, etc. Yes, Leslie, I remember 1963 and going into the second grade, and I do remember the March on Washington and watching it on television in black and white television. Right? And my mother was watching, and my mother would sing, and she had this overcome. Think about that when it comes to resilience, right? Having that self-efficacy, to believe that you have control over your ability to succeed. And that's why they would sing over and over again that we shall overcome. And while, the National Guard and the military, law enforcement was expecting, a lot of violence, there was no violence. It was totally peaceful. And this is just a sign of, the resilience that they display. Because remember, the first thing is emotion regulation. It's the first inner strength. That's the ability to calm under pressure, under the heat that Carla talked about, under the pressure, face bodily harm or impulse control, not saying or doing the first thing that comes to mind. I'm mad and I'm angry. So yes, a lot was happening back then. Olu thanks Timothy, and I'll share one thought here that Olu had on LinkedIn. Being that way isn't crazy at all, though. In my opinion, Timothy's just about core character. Usually, people who are like that often can't control the fact that they are. Standing up for truth, justice, and other critical values and principles. All of that didn't come across on the screen, so let's see if we can bring it up. Standing up for truth, justice, and other critical values and principles. Or is this another one? Okay, you just put another comment up. Truth, justice, and other critical values and principles, them in a way that is at the core of their being. Folks, it's all about our power thinking, resilience skills, and I thought it was important just to kind of reflect 1960 in Washington. I'm going to thank Carla Hill and Leslie Flowers and Timothy Butts and Janice Tasta, Lillian Ford, and Olu from Nigeria for sharing thoughts around this topic, and for others who have joined us. Been another multimedia president able to juggle a number of all that goes across the screen, comments on our phone lines, and the fact that we are on 3 platforms, as well as lower thirds and all of those things that, by the way, I used to have, tens of people doing this when we had a news operation. But the most important thing is to remember is that you must stay close to power thinking, because as we move forward at us from various social media platforms, media, and we must stay focused on our skill building, but also impact of that as well, as we will continue to share with you. Power Thinking app on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. And remember, since our time thinking, we must think and utilize power thinking. Let's go back. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Claudia and George, Dr. Ekman, great to see you. All right. Thanks for joining. Join us again tonight, everybody. Olu, see you. Have a great one, everybody. Appreciate you. Take care. And for those of us still on the platforms, we thank you so much for being with us. Make it a fantastic day. And remember, again, we must think with power and utilize power thinking. Take care, everyone. Let's see if we have you, and we will